It is time to execute episode 66.
Oh, that's wrong. So wrong.
And yet so right. Welcome once again, everybody, to Squares the Round Table Podcast. Yay, another episode coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
And with me is Jeff.
Hello.
Yo. And Ivan is still incapacitated, so we're hoping to get him back next week. Hope it's not gonna be like a weekend at Bernie's where we gotta prop him up and make his mouth move up and down while we're trying to make jokes and he can do the fake laugh. So hopefully we'll get Ivan back here next week. We miss him. We miss you, bud. Come on, get your ass back here and get better.
Yeah, so as long as it's his mouth that we have to move and nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. So how you been, Jeff? Today is Labor Day. So what did you do this week?
What did I do this week? Wow. Let's see. I ended up dog sitting for the weekend, which I like dogs. I really do. Yeah. And I'm a dog person, but my aunt's dog, because she's single and she doesn't have kids, she babies her dogs quite a bit. So, to the point of where it's like, if you're a guy, forget it. He's not paying attention to you. He's really not interested in what you have to say. He'll follow my aunt or my mom, or he'll be nice to women. But me, he's like, I'll be like, here, come over here, and I'll pet you. Go the other way. So I had to deal with that all weekend, which is kind of frustrating because you're like, I like dogs.
What kind of dog is it?
Miniature Schnauzer.
Ah.
It's like, I like dogs. I just don't know that I like you. And that's not true. I like him. He just, it's so frustrating because it's like my favorite is my mom will be like, leave me alone. I just want to sleep. And I'm like, if you came over here, I'd pet you the whole time. And I'd love you and hug you and kiss you and cuddle you and call you George. That kind of thing. But nope. The minute I get anywhere near him, he goes the other way. I'm like, okay. That's quite all right. And then I'm trying to think what else over this past week.
Watch any TV?
I mean, I figure we wait for getting into that, but okay. I figure we wait to get into that, but all right. Yeah, and then did a run through on a humor speech that I'm working on where I try to explain to people the importance of not getting off track and keeping things in a direction and then keep going off onto funniest sides and then trying to go back into the point that I've been working on. So there's that, and then trying to think of anything. Like I said, I saw The Boys. I saw the first half of The Boys.
Okay.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I can talk about that without spoiler. And and then I saw the other dog movie because we have the dog, so we'll see the dog movie.
Is that the one where the dog is in the race car?
No, this is the one that one hasn't come on demand yet, so I didn't see that one. It's the other one. There was the dog's purpose, and this is the dog's journey, where the dog is reincarnated into different dogs, and he has to help the family or something like that. Your typical dog movie where it's you're like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Was that the controversial one because of the scene that leaked about the dog being close to being drowned or something like that?
I don't know.
Was Dennis Quaid in it?
Yes.
Okay, then that was the one. Okay.
Is that the one? Okay.
Yeah. It was a brief amount of controversy because some footage leaked about the dog that was being in water or something like that. But
I don't know.
Nothing came of
it.
And
then drafted my fantasy football team. I'm not even sure it's any good. But I like I said, that's been kind of my week. Like I said, we'll talk about The Boys here very, very shortly. I got to hang out with John Suntress from Word Balloon.
Yeah.
And
he's put up some YouTube stuff, right?
Well,
I'm sorry, Balthazar. Balthazar's putting that up.
Oh, has he? Okay. Yeah, I saw a couple things that he put up that were short. Yeah. But, so John, I was over at John's place, and he's got an amazing amount of comic book art that's really pretty cool. But we hung out and we were talking just in general, and he was talking about a couple projects he's looking at, and things.
What was the? I'm sorry to interrupt. But what was the purpose of the visit? You just
it was funny because I was like, I should give him a call on Saturday. I'm like, oh, he's probably working at WPBM AM radio. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm not working tonight. Do you want to get together? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. So we hung out, watched Had Lou Malnati's and Had Lou Malnati's and watched the first 4 episodes of The Boys. Oh. And we're just kind of talking just in general about other stuff, just cool. And, we were talking about his podcast. We were talking a little bit about just stuff in general because I hadn't seen him in a while. So it was, it was a good time. I hadn't seen John in a bit, but.
That's nice to catch up with people you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I know. One of these times I need to come hang out in McHenry one of these times, too.
Yeah.
But how about you? What'd you...
Well, let's see. Well, today was Labor Day. I'm off. I was off Sunday, yesterday, and today. It was nice.
Oh my God.
Didn't do much during the week. It's been a little crazy building up to that. We had, what's going on at the hardware store? We had the safety valve replaced on our propane tank because about a month ago, we had an accident. This was on a Sunday. It didn't happen when I was there. I normally work on Sundays. Uh-huh. We had an accident where someone was filling a tank and they hung the filling hose on the side, on the rack or something on the wall. They got like a little hutch so to keep it out of the rain while you're filling propane in the rain or whatever. And the hose fell off the hook. And when it hit the ground, the nozzle broke and was spraying liquefied petroleum gas everywhere.
Oh.
And it was a propane emergency. We had the cops there. We had the police department there. We had the store. We had to evacuate the store. And the kid who was filling the tank, when it fell, the kid reached for the safety valve and it didn't work. And the propane company tried to nail it on him, but he didn't do anything wrong. And eventually it was like, yeah, it was our fault. We'll have to replace the safety valve. So that happened this week where they had to drain the tank completely and then replace the valve. So this is the big grilling week. Of course, I had to replace the grill. Now this is a shit kicker. I bought this grill in 2017, and this tank was 21 years old. This tank was built in 1998. I bought the grill in 2017. It's like, now with propane tanks, they expire after 12 years past their construction date, and then have to be recertified so they can be filled again. But this was brand new looking. It just had a little bit of dirt, a little dust on it. But I mean, it wasn't rusty at all. But it still is 21 years old. So my tank couldn't get filled. So I just had to exchange it. That's fine. I got a nice new one. Anyway, this is just kind of weird that, that this tank is expired, yet you put it in a box and sold it to me years ago. But anyway, some people are funny about their tanks. Some people love, they hate to part with what they got when they bought the thing. Anyway, my point being, I had a nice week. I watched the Dave Chappelle special.
Oh yeah,
Sticks and Stones was the new one.
Okay,
that's funny.
Is it?
Yeah, there's some.
I know he's pissed off a lot of people with.
Yeah, there's some hard truths in there, and some hard pills to swallow for a lot of people. And I was reminded of this because one of my Facebook friends saw it, and they just said, Dave Chappelle is the George Carlin of our time. Like, what? And he said he just saw this special, Sticks and Stones. I heard about it. It was just come out. So I had to use my sister's Netflix password and watch the special. And, yeah, it was funny. He's good storytelling. He's good. I liked it. So eventually I will watch I want to try this Dark Crystal prequel series that's on Netflix. If I had time tonight, I had to I got up this morning and had to cook out this afternoon then I had to take my sister to the train. So if I had time, I would have watched like an episode or two tonight, but I did not. Well, later this week, though, I've planned it with a friend of mine. Next week, I'll get you my thoughts on the DS9 documentary that came out earlier this year, What We Leave Behind, by Ira Steven Burr, the creator. So it's been 20 years since the final episode of Deep Space Nine, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah,
I guess
1999 was the last episode.
It's really fun, because I believe there's been books, right? There have been books
that have been lots of novels
about them since then.
Oh, yeah.
But really nothing done with anything on screen with the DS9 folks.
Nope.
Although maybe it'll happen with Picard. I have no idea. I doubt it, but...
I don't think there's any DS9 alum planned for the Picard series. Just 7 from Voyager.
Yeah, that's...
And Hugh. So from the one, the TNG or whatever.
Right.
No, so I'm going to watch that. I just got a text from my friend this week because he's been busy with, well, obviously we're all busy. And last night was game night, speaking of busy. And it's nice.
Yeah, what'd you play?
We played the Pathfinder collectible card game. I played a round of that. And then we played a round of Thunderstone Quest. It's like a in-box deck building game.
Okay.
We prefer these rather than the collectible card game. We just, like, you start with a base deck and you make purchases and build your deck and defeat stronger monsters as you go along. And that worked out. It was fun. I had a good time.
Is it more collaborative in that you guys team up to take out the monsters?
Yes.
Or you beat up on each other?
It's more collaborative.
Okay.
But then at the end, you can add up like your victory points at the end and see who was the better winner. Who won the most? Who was the better winner of the winning? So we talked. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it was nice to see friends again. I hadn't seen one of my friends in like over a month, so it was good to see him again. So I had a good weekend. Had a nice Memorial Day weekend. It's back to the grind. Although I only got 3 days.
So Pathfinder has is it a collectible card game or is it just a deck building?
It's a deck building game that's all self-contained. There are many expansions you can get for it, and some of it just gets kind of, you add all the expansions and it's the selection.
I wonder how
it
differs from the RP. Well, I was going to say I wonder how it differs from for the role playing game, but I guess I already have some guesses to that, but
I presume it's all the same kind of characters and races and classes and all that, and might be some villains and adventures based on books and expansions and whatnot. But
yeah, I played some Pathfinder a while back. I played some Pathfinder a few years back, and I thought it was, it's an interesting game. I don't know. I just wasn't, it just didn't, I hate to say it, a lot of the genre of what is for Pathfinder is the same as Dungeons and Dragons, and sometimes with that genre, I don't care about dealing with orcs and goblins and kobolds and all that, and all that stuff. It's like, okay, I really don't feel like you
must battle the undead.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here come the undead. Great, wonderful. Okay.
Cause this is thriller. Oh, yeah, Dave Chappelle, he digs into Michael Jackson.
That's what I heard. Well, I saw the one guy who I guess was one of the people who was from the Neverland.
Leaving Neverland, the documentary.
Leaving Neverland. Yeah. He wants to run a big boycott or to sue or something, or I don't know. It's.
Yep. Yeah. Dave pushes some hot buttons, that's for sure. Yeah. But game night was good, and hopefully we'll get another one in 2 weeks, like our normal schedule. We tried to. But there's something, with multiple people, you get like I said, I'm pretty lucky. We got a pretty chill group, the three of us, so we can agree on what we're going to play, and We don't have very many conflicts in that regard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll it's funny because I do have quite a few people I can be gaming with, and I'm just like...
Yeah, your RPG circle is probably a lot bigger than mine. But...
Well, you're talking about, like, deck building and board games and stuff like that, and I'm just like...
Yeah, just quick setup and go.
Yeah, that... quick setup and go games are never, one, quick setup and go, and two, that's usually when everything goes to hell. That's usually when people start to be like, why aren't you doing this? And it's like, can I just play the game, please? Please.
It's like that, the meme, it's like the Joker says, you look like a guy. Do I look like a guy with a plan?
Yeah. And then there's the other times when where it's really obvious that somebody needs to do something and they've decided, especially like in a 3-player game, when it's it's like you have to do something to a specific person or otherwise this game is over, and they decide to do just the opposite of that. You're like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, and now we're going to sit here for another 3 hours and I'm going to die a slow, painful, horrible death because, you get the idea.
Yeah, I almost did that. We were playing the Thunderstone quest, and I did, okay, I'll do this, and I rolled the dice, and one of my friends was like, oh my god, we almost lost the game because of that die roll, because if you not rolled that dice. So anyway, yeah, we almost ruined it, but for the situation, but we had a couple of lucky die rolls in that regard, and then we had some good draws with the cards, so it all worked out in the end. Had a good time. Yeah,
collaborative gaming is amusing that way, because it's like
teamwork.
You blew, yeah. It's like there's always that one person who is like, see, I don't know if it's thrown into you this way. It's like, there's always that one person who's like, nope, I'm going to be the person that saves the day. And you're like, hey, dumbass, we're a team.
We can all save the day.
We all save the day here. No, I'm going to do this. Oh, dude, you just
and then he
everything.
Rolls a 1.
Yeah, or he screws up everything because of what he did. It's like, we all lose the game. Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good thing we weren't playing this for 2 hours when you decided to do that. It never happens at the beginning of the game either. Never, ever, ever, ever. Although, except never tell you that. Ivan's got to remember this. Ivan, so we used to, sometimes when we did overnight, if I knew I was on overnight or somebody was on overnight that we knew, we would bring like Axis and Allies or like Risk or something like that.
Yeah. Axis and Allies, you can lose friendships over Axis and Allies.
Yes. So I had some friends I was working the night shift, and Ivan happened to be sleeping over, and I'm like, hey, you want to play? He's like, oh yeah, sure. So there were like 4 of us, and we were playing 4 or 5 of us, and we were playing Axis and Allies, like in the middle of my shift. While I'm there, dealing with Rebel Radio, because all I gotta do is basically make sure I do the stuff at like the end of the hour and make sure, everything's going fine. And I'm like, okay, fine. Really in reality, it's 8 hours of what else was I gonna do? It's like, yeah, you want to come over and game? I get 8 hours, and I got a place where we can hang out and free coffee, and and everyone's like, sure. I'm like, okay. So Ivan's there, we're playing, and we set up the board. And this one guy sets it up in such a way where I'm looking at the guy's capital, and I'm like, hey, I could take his capital in the first round. And I did. So we start over, we play again. Same guy, playing the same spot. I'm like, did he just do it again? He did. Okay. So I did it again, I took him over. And I swear to God, it was so funny, because we go to start resetting the game up again. And Ivan looks at me and goes, now look, you've done this twice. Put stuff there.
You need armies to defend your capital.
Yeah, yes, you need to put things here, because I'm not resetting this game up for a 4th time. I just remember Ivan being annoyed. It was pretty funny.
It takes a lot to get him riled.
Yeah, no, it did. It was like, oh gosh. But yeah,
That's
like
funny.
I said, it's so yeah. So you saw the Chappelle thing. I like I said, I've heard from a few people that it's interesting, and it's gonna be, no, that's gonna be the interesting question. Is what is comedy gonna look like in the next 10 years? I mean, seriously, I don't know, because you got to be careful about everything.
Yeah, and there were a couple of brief moments of tension between the crowd and David. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything. You just watch it and enjoy it.
Right. That's what I had heard.
Yeah,
but
just watch it. You'll know. But he did talk about Jussie Smollett, and that was hilarious. So yeah, that was my week, and I'm having a good Labor Day. Grilled out burgers and dogs.
I was going to ask
Wonderful
you about
day.
that.
Yep. So
yeah, that is. That's the one thing about living in the in the condo is it's like they really don't like you to have that stuff here. So it's like, okay, so we really don't have options.
Do you have a balcony?
I do.
Okay.
But they started throwing all kinds of weird rules about charcoal and this and that, and I it's like I don't know where I'm going to put it in the wintertime, and you get the idea.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so in some ways it's like I'll just go over to Mariano's and get one and be done, and that'll work in theory.
Just put a little George Foreman on your kitchen counter.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll pan cook it. I'll put it in the I'll put it in like a cast iron skillet and do it that way. But you get the idea. But yeah, it loses a little bit. So
yeah.
But is it just basic hot dogs and basic hamburgers?
Yep.
No brats, no any of those?
No brats, no barbecue chicken, no nothing. Just plain old with some Walmart macaroni salad.
Got it.
It's good. Like there used to be the Jewel Osco the Jewel Deli used to have good macaroni salad, but they changed the recipe.
Did they?
And so now the Walmart is more like it. Yeah, Jewel has it, but now the Walmart one tastes like how the Jewel one used to be. So you gotta pick and choose.
Well, we gotta be more careful then. I'm not. Well, it's funny. The only thing I would say about see now people are gonna get mad. Here's an example where people are gonna get mad, which is I saw that Chick-fil-A has mac and cheese now. So I wanted to try it. It's phenomenal.
I think you talked about this last week. And
right.
All of a sudden now we're in the midst of some kind of chicken sandwich war.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, well, something about... So I guess Popeyes is a new chicken sandwich, or they've never had one. And so they didn't anticipate the demand, and they don't even have sandwiches anymore. And then this turned into some sort of online feud between them and Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, okay, how did this kind of happen? And I'm like, I don't know. That many people going to Popeyes? I mean, I guess.
There is one in Crystal Lake, one by me. And there's a Chick-fil-A in Crystal Lake too. But I've never been into that Popeyes in Crystal Lake.
It's funny, there's one right by me here. There is one here right by me that's not far at all.
Is it walking distance?
Well, not walking, but it's a 5-minute drive.
Okay.
It's a 5-minute drive. It's an easy drive. And I kind of laugh because I'm like, the only thing I would say, I think the only reason is I found that whatever they put in their chicken makes me sick. So I don't eat Popeye's chicken because I'm like, no thanks. Or I have to be really, really careful about eating it because that seems to make me kind of like, bleh. So it's funny because I know, doesn't KFC do a chicken sandwich? Well, Wendy's does too.
KFC's had chicken sandwiches. They got the little, not just the little ones too. What they call the I forget what they call them.
They got the one too, or the bigger ones.
Yeah.
But the bigger ones aren't as good as the little ones, right? I mean, that's always kind of what I found.
That's a lot of bread. When you're eating like the little chicken
Yeah.
sandwiches, you're eating a lot of bread.
True. Actually, it's funny. Arby's is doing those little King's Hawaiian sliders with like a
On the
like
Hawaiian rolls?
Yeah, on the Hawaiian rolls with like the barbecue kind of chicken kind of thing, and those are pretty freaking good.
Yeah, I don't have an Arby's by me anymore.
Arby's is hit or miss on certain items. You know, it's like the roast beef is. I mean, it's not like you're getting good roast beef. It's kind of like you're getting. It is what it. You know, you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the chicken sandwiches and some of the other stuff isn't bad. And obviously the curly fries is the potato choices are just superior to most places because you can either go cakes or you can go curly fry. And, you know, sometimes I want to be like, yes, I'll take both. They're both awesome. I will take them. And I'd be very, very happy.
But no, I guess maybe eventually I'll get myself over there and try the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Well, good luck, because I don't think I don't think they exist right now. My understanding is they're totally sold out. That they don't have any more. I don't understand how that works. How did you don't have any more chickens?
They got to be trucked in. These are stores are running out.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so you what? They were saying that we didn't have enough chickens that you can go into the back and hack, and here you go.
Well, all comes on the truck like frozen, I presume.
Well, yeah, but okay. I mean, all right. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Like, you know, McDonald's to me, they have a couple, but I never end up eating the good one. I always end up eating the cheap one because it's cheap. Wendy's has some good ones though.
Yeah. For a while, they had the best chicken sandwich out of the three.
Yeah.
Out of Burger King and McDonald's, I preferred Wendy's for a while.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then there's with Burger King too. It's like, you know, they did the chicken sandwich, and it's weird because it's like they have their chicken sandwich, and then they have the original chicken sandwich.
Right, the long one.
The long one.
Yeah.
And the long one is awesome.
Yeah, it's tried and true. Tastes the same it has for the last 30 years.
Yeah, that's the best. Is they used to do that with as like a chicken parmesan kind of thing. Oh, that thing is awesome.
Yeah, they don't have that anymore?
They haven't done it in a while.
Oh.
Well, they do it, but not with that one. Or I don't know. They haven't done that one in a while, other than basically plain. But yeah, that thing is. Those are good. Those are pretty damn good. But yeah, I don't know. I guess some guy's suing, demanding, I don't know, money for the chicken sandwiches he can't
for
get.
Undue stress because he can't get his Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Oh God.
Yeah. We're living in the decline. We're living in the final days of the Roman Empire, I think. Where this is your problem. This is why you're. And that's just somebody sue happy. I hope a judge just throws it out.
We'll see.
I hope.
Well, we'll see. I don't know where that's going.
I couldn't get the chicken sandwich, Your Honor.
I couldn't get the chicken sandwich, and I didn't get to Cobra Kai either.
That's right. Yeah, that's.
Now that I guess Cobra Kai, yeah, because Cobra Kai
season 1 is free.
Yeah, but it's
I'm spreading the word.
Right, but it's free till like September 11th, and I'm always like, I want to. It's like I'll binge, but sometimes I'm like, I don't want to binge that much that fast.
Watch one episode and see if you like it.
Yeah.
See if it hooks you.
Sometimes I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes you get like, yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, that's a lot of episodes.
I think it's 10. I think.
Yeah, it's 10 the first season, and I'm just like, do I really want to sit through 10 of these? I don't know.
We'll try one. And let's see what happens.
But you know how it is usually when you sit through one, you're like, okay, I should see where this goes. And the next thing you know, now you've like sat through like half of them, and you're like, do I like this or do I not? Well, I want to see where it goes. And then you're like, why did I watch this? And I'm not sure. Maybe Cobra Kai will be fine. It's just the part where I'm like, you're putting me on the clock. I don't want to be
liked
on
it
the
a
clock.
lot. I've been singing the praises the length of this show, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, no, it's the part where they put you on the clock, where it's like you got to get it done by a certain time,
right?
And you're like, screw you! I want to watch it whenever I want.
Then just pay the whatever for 1 month of YouTube Red, and then.
Well, I got news for you. I'm gonna have to end up paying 1 month anyway to finish up The Boys.
That's for Amazon. Yeah.
For Amazon, because I'll tell you right now, the first 4 episodes, I enjoyed it a lot. I really did, and it begs the question to me. There's been a lot of this. Now, in fairness, again, I haven't seen the back 4 episodes, but the first 4 episodes, they don't seem to be doing what I usually see on the Netflix shows, which is this. Okay, we have 10 or 13 episodes, and we're gonna practically write this way where there's a whole bunch of supposition and stuff that technically we may not really need, but hey, we've got 13 episodes to fill. Instead of, giving us something interesting the whole way through. And it's like, stop with the filler. And The Boys doesn't do that. The Boys has...
Well, that's probably why it's 8 episodes, not 10 or 12.
Right, but I've seen it too, like, when they did when Netflix, when Marvel did Defenders, I was like, okay, 8 episodes, good. They'll get right into it.
Nope.
No. It took them 2.5 episodes to get everybody together. There were about 2.5 episodes that were good, and then it went back to shitland. To the point where I was like, I don't even care. And then everything got dark again where you can't see anything. And I'm like, oh, joy.
They have to hide the choreography or lack thereof.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'm just like, this is so freaking bullshit. This is stupid. Okay, I'm like, great. And it's like wonderful. You gave us 2 good episodes, and the rest of it was. It's funny. There isn't a lot of fighting in The Boys, and yet it works.
Well, not yet. Like I said, you're only halfway.
Well,
in.
Right, I'm halfway in, but there isn't a lot of fighting, and it works. And I will tell you now. I mean, it's definitely. This is not something where I would have my kids watch it. If I was under, if my kids weren't at least teenage. That's for sure. There's definitely some adult themes and some other things going on, but like I said, the first 4 episodes. I'm not sitting there trying to squint to figure out something's going on or something or not, and the coloring is good and the pace is good. I didn't feel at any point in time where I was bored.
That's good.
Which sometimes with the Netflix stuff, you're just like, oh god, can this get interesting sometime soon, please? And I'm curious if it's just this particular series or if this is just a Netflix problem. If you understand what I mean.
Well, this is Amazon, so
right.
Maybe they learned the lesson or two from the Tick that was short-lived.
Was it? Okay. Maybe that was the Tick's problem too. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe this is just doing it right. I haven't seen any of the other Amazon stuff. I'm curious to take a look at it. I just know that there's quite a few things from Netflix where I feel like it's, oh, good, great. We've given them 10 episodes, and they're gonna have episodes where literally you're like, why is this episode even here? Can we get to the point, please? And it's like I'm all for supposition sometimes, but sometimes these episodes get to a point where you're like, okay, why are you telling? Oh, this isn't even important.
Yeah. Well, good. We'll get you finished up on that. I'd try watching that.
Yeah,
I don't have anyone. I don't know anyone who has Amazon though. I
almost ended up watching my first episode of Titans. Almost. almost.
Yeah, season
got
2
there.
drops this week, so
Is it,
we
is it
might
this week?
see. I might see one episode maybe in the coming weeks just to see season 2 how it's shaping up.
Well,
But I'm gonna watch it.
It was interesting because I guess Netflix is now talking about changing their statuses about making things binge watchable, where they're talking about having it where things drop more weekly or more in bunches than all at once.
Yeah, because they did it with the House of Cards. They done it with Stranger Things, where they dump the whole season, where people will hole themselves up in their homes and binge it for the weekend.
Right. Well, and the Marvel stuff was all like that too, where they would dump it all.
The Marvel
like that.
Netflix,
yeah, they would dump all that like that too. But I think they're here. Here it is.
There's something to be said about tune in next week. We live in that generation.
Well, it's interesting though because we're from that generation where it's like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. And I never understood why it didn't make sense from a perspective of keeping people around, because all right, you dumped all this stuff down. Great. If I binge a whole bunch of what I really want to watch, I could be not paying for Netflix next month. If you understand what I'm saying. And then, okay, I watched everything I wanted to watch in 30 days. Now I'm on to the next one when they drop everything and binge it. Versus like Discovery, where Discovery was a weekly
week
thing,
to week, yeah.
And you had to keep it a certain amount of weeks. Now, the only thing I keep wondering is, okay, fine. Once all the episodes happen, what are you going to do then? Because then it's bingeable again. But
but then you got to avoid spoilers before you binge it.
True. So yeah, I'm looking at comicbook.com where they're talking about Netflix abandoning the binge model for week-to-week episodes on multiple shows. So I don't think this is for every Netflix show, but I guess this is something that they're starting to do with a few different shows.
Yeah, if they release one a week over a 10-week span, that'll get you 2 or 3 subscriptions.
Well, the other thing is too, I think the other part of this is quite frankly, I hate to say it, Disney's coming. The Juggernaut is coming.
Yep.
We could sing the Juggernaut song like Ryan Reynolds if we want to, but you get the idea. Seriously, the Juggernaut's on its way.
The Juggernaut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2. Right.
Right. I mean,
once Disney Plus drops, then all the other streaming services are going to see a hit.
Right, and I don't know if you caught it or not, but I guess I don't know how this works, but I guess if you're willing to be, I guess the D23 offer was if you are willing to sign up for 3 years of
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're talking about it being like $4 a month.
But is it all up front?
Yeah, I think you pay it all up front.
Yeah, 4 times 12 times 3, that's 48. That's $140 pretty much.
Yeah.
For 3 years. I don't want to put that much up.
Right. The question is if you if you're paying for this on a more monthly basis, you get the idea. I mean, I guess the part of it is if you really think you're going to use it and you're going to keep it, and you don't think you're going to get rid of it, $4 a month. Okay, that's really just don't get Starbucks or fast food. To be honest.
I was probably planning on just dropping like a year's worth at once when it comes out, instead of just doing the $6 or whatever $6 to $7 drip every month. Starting in November.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to want to do the $7 a month or if I'm going to want to do the $12.99 where it's like Hulu, it includes Hulu and ESPN Plus.
That's right. I'll do that eventually because next year is when the Orville comes to Hulu.
Well, and I think Animaniacs at some point. See, I haven't heard anything in a long time now. This is interesting. I've not heard anything in a bit, but Hulu was supposed to be where Animaniacs were supposed to go in 2020, but now Disney owns them, so I'm a little curious.
Because Animaniacs is Warner Brothers.
Whereas Warner, is that really still going to happen? I'm going to see if I can... I mean, I'm assuming it's still happening because, I mean, I haven't seen anything that says anything different, but it's supposedly they ordered 2 seasons back in 2018. So, yeah, and it's funny, like, I'm looking at this here, and I'm not finding anything of, like, new, of any sort of information about it, so I'm assuming it's still going to happen, you know. But we'll see. I'm kind of curious. This is kind of the example of okay, we in this day and age with the way these companies are, will this really happen? Will this really now happen? I'm assuming it will, though. I'm assuming it will. I could be dead wrong. But yeah, I don't know, Mike. Like I said, I'm kind of, I don't, and it's funny with Disney Plus, it's like, not Disney, ESPN Plus. I'm like, because I guess John has it already. He was like, yeah, if you like boxing, okay, great. If you like UFC, if you like more baseball, okay.
And the playoffs are coming, and we're into football season, so.
Right, and I'm like, do I really need more baseball? Not really. And now if you were going to tell me that it gives me access to a different NFL football game instead of having to pay extra, for the season pass, okay.
That's right, the NFL has its own network.
Right, they have the network, and then they have season pass, and then they have Red Zone, which... Oh my god! Like Red Zone is. If you've never seen Red Zone, Mike, Red Zone's like, it's like, football on crack, or speed. Because basically all they do is they basically jump from one game to the next when things look interesting.
Oh. Hmm.
And it's kind of, especially if you're a fantasy football, it's like, boom, we're gonna show you this. Boom, we're gonna show you that. Like, oh.
So it's like a continuous highlights reel in real time?
Yep.
Ooh.
And they have like a studio host. And
I'm good with just one game in 3 hours. I don't need constantly being interrupted by something that's going on in another game. I'm sure that's good for the people who are monitoring all of it. It's like in the war room. It's like the big room in war games where they're all looking at the multiple TVs and all that. You see, this team's doing this, and this team just did that. Oh, but no, that ain't me.
I will say, when the Bears were bad, it was nice to have that. Like, if you're not watching your team and you're bored out of your mind with whatever the locals games are, and you don't like the local games, it was nice to have it because it's like they'll hop around, if you know what I mean, and you don't have to pay for the rest of this stuff. But.
Yeah, so the streaming wars, in 2 more months, the streaming wars will begin.
Yeah.
In earnest.
Yeah, I'm like, we didn't talk about this last time. I guess Nathan Fillion is going to be in Suicide Squad. The movie.
Suicide, Squad 2?
Yeah.
They haven't started any of that yet. That's still James Gunn's baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're not going to see a Guardians 2 anytime soon.
Guardians
3, sorry.
He's got to do Suicide Squad 2 first. Of course, it's not on the docket until after 2023, maybe, 2024. So.
Yeah.
Because Disney's playing the long game with that. They're just going to focus on the streaming service and all the TV series and bring in all the third stringers until we can assemble a new crew with enough emotional investment to change the roster pretty much entirely. And we're now, week 3 into the Spider-Man Sony crisis?
Is it still considered a crisis? I don't know.
Some people are considering it a crisis, yes.
Okay.
Because it's
I'm not there.
Because Tom Holland is not part of the MCU, and oh no.
Well, like I said, personally, I think that there's some things that I think are short-sighted about this, but we'll see. We'll see. I like I said to you before, I'm not ready to sit there and say that this thing is dead. And if there are people who are really sitting there going, we have to stop this, well, here's your first clue. Don't go see the Venom movie, the second one. And don't go see the Morbius movie. Don't go see either of those. If those 2 movies tank, then they'll probably reconsider this. But, they have 2 movies under their belt that did well. Which is, they had Spider-Verse, which was critically acclaimed, and won Best Animated Film of the Year for the Oscars. And then Venom, again, I know you have a difference of opinion a little bit, but
boatload of money.
We made a boatload of money for a movie that I didn't think was very good, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me! And people flocked to see that thing, and I'm like, I don't get it. It's not good. And the worst part is, it was like word of mouth was not good on that movie, yet people still flocked to see that movie. And it's like, okay. I guess there were enough fans out there of the character that, hey, guess what? We wanted this movie really, really badly. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I mean, the character's been around, 20 plus
years, I think.
He's had his own book. It's sold well. So I guess in theory, yeah, there might be actual actual straight up Venom fans versus Spider-Man fans. That's possible. Yeah.
I saw an article today about how, this is an article on BGR.com about how fans on Reddit are postulating theories about how Marvel fixing the Spider-Man cliffhanger after Far From Home, involving a post-credit scene and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and all that, about how goes by, people are grasping at straws, and it's not like we had a Spider-Man movie planned anyway, so it's not like anything's been canceled.
Right.
We've got time to fix this, but people are already starting to panic and everything. I've actually, on FX, Homecoming was on FX over the weekend. I watched the last hour of that. Means I watched about 40 minutes, followed with 20 minutes of commercials in it.
Yeah.
FX runs our commercials. They'll run 2 spots in the same break.
Well, it's funny because Starz has, and this is what's weird. Starz has Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it has for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I can watch. That movie's like on every so often. It's funny. The other movie that they have, of all ironies, is Venom.
Yeah.
Oy.
Oh, we forgot to mention this weekend was a limited run of Far From Home with additional footage added.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just
I don't
over my
think
head.
That, I see now. I think there's a perfect example of where this whole thing killed that.
Yeah.
I think that if there was more goodwill about everything that happened, maybe you get people to go back in the theaters to see the added footage. But otherwise, where things are right now, it's just a giant reminder of, you want me to go back in and give you more money after I'm not happy? And there are people who seem to be, by the way, there are people, I've seen articles where people are happy about that Spider-Man is not going to be in the MCU. That the counterpoint is, Tony Stark has replaced Uncle Ben, and that all of these villains are suddenly problems that he inherits from Tony. Not really his real villains. And what was the other one? That Spider-Man doesn't necessarily stand on the same pillar level as the other heroes because he's not because of the fact of his age. And some of those are legitimate. Some of those are not. Like I said, it's. I don't know that I agree with him. I think it's interesting. I think some of them are interesting, and there's certain things they have a point about. Especially with the way the two movies went. But I do feel like Spider-Man's under Marvel has been more like teenage Spider-Man than in any movie I've seen.
Yeah, a good incarnation of how Peter is confronted by these real-world problems at the same time he has to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's an awesome thing about Spider-Man. It was because he's just a kid, It's just like you see that old video where Stan Lee's explaining the pitch to the people at Marvel, saying, "Wow, he's just a kid. Sidekicks. Kids can only be sidekicks."
Right.
So.
Well, and I think that's the comment on MCU Spider-Man is that he comes off a little bit sidekicky.
Well, he did obviously in Civil War, and he was barely able to stand on his own in Homecoming, and he was definitely sidekicky in Infinity War.
Right, and he's kind of there even in Endgame.
Well, he was barely there in Endgame. He was there just barely enough.
Yeah, that's another example of where I feel like it's too bad because, they went down the road where it was Iron Man and Spider-Man. And I would have liked to have seen a few more scenes with Captain America and Spider-Man together. But we're not going to get that one.
Not for a while, if we ever do. But we got Night Monkey. We'll have to settle for Night Monkey. We'll have to.
Night Monkey. Yeah, that's again, like I said, there are some possibilities that if Sony does it right, I'm okay with this. And I'm curious to see where it goes. There are some possibilities. I wouldn't put it past them for them to go get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and find somebody new to play Miles Morales and have Tom Holland and have all four of them in a movie. I wouldn't put it past them at this point. I think that's possible.
Oh, very much so.
I think so. I think it's possible. Now, the four of them against the Sinister Six? Yeah, I'm in. That would be interesting. That'd be kind of cool.
So hopefully we'll get another Spider-Man movie, and it's not just going to, obviously... Oh, I saw an article. It doesn't matter now, but...
What?
I saw an article about how Disney's application for extension of copyright or something along those lines was responsible for the Sony MCU breakup because something that Disney did, Marvel did Disney did not own Marvel in the 90s.
Right.
So something Disney did in the 90s where they extended the deadline for the trademark of Mickey Mouse. Mm-hmm. So now, to keep Spider-Man from becoming public domain.
Right. It had to do with Mickey Mouse. It had to do with the fact that there are, and in fairness, they're not the only ones because there are some things that are starting to. There's a reason why they made some tweaks in the characters the way they do over the decades that they've done is because they changed the copyright on them or the trademarking on them, and so Mickey Mouse like Steamboat Willie style would have, I think, been available for public domain. I don't think Mickey Mouse, like how we know him today, that wouldn't have been available. But old school Mickey Mouse from back in the day, he'd have been available, like the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. I believe first season, I shouldn't say first season, like original version Superman is available too. I think
you mean like the Max Fleischer looking one?
Like even earlier than that, where it's like you'd actually have to sit there and have him like leap buildings in single bound, where he doesn't fly. That one, I believe, is available out of available for public domain. But again, you couldn't do like Lex Luthor. I don't even know if Lois Lane's available in that. I think it's like, I know Lex Luthor isn't. None of the major villains would be available to you.
Right.
You know, so I think that's part of the issue. But now if you wanted to create new stuff, what kind of with it, I don't know. And I don't know, that's the other thing. I'll be honest, I don't know enough of the rules on this. I'll be honest, I don't know nearly enough of the rules on this about what you can and can't do. But yeah, no, absolutely. And then I guess they're saying Variety came out with something today that the summer box office slipped 2%, and then that means that this year for a whole, box office has been down 6% as a whole. It's interesting, you know.
In spite of the fact that we've got the highest grossing film of all time now in the same year, all the other films have suffered.
Well, and in fairness, there's been, like, it's funny, they talk about, but Disney had a great year, and then they start bringing in things like Dark Phoenix and Stuber and Art of Racing in the Rain. I'm still not positive that some of those movies, see, the interesting part is we're talking about theater release. We're not talking about, you know, content for later on down the road. Like, a couple of those movies are movies that I'm looking at going, yeah, I'll probably rent those. Like Stuber or The Art of Racing in the Rain. Because Art of Racing in the Rain, that's the one you were thinking about with the dog.
Right.
And for me, that's one of those movies where it's like, okay, that's a family movie. I can watch that. Stuber, I can watch anytime. But, yeah.
Oh, and then there's this John Travolta movie that made like $13,000 this weekend.
Yeah, that's...
This is The Fanatic.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So poor John Travolta can't catch a break.
Yeah, he's had some clunkers.
Quite a few. That Gotti movie wouldn't...
Yeah. Yeah, he's had a few different... He's had some clunkers at times, so... But yeah, like I said, I don't know.
Yeah, but see, I haven't seen a movie since Homecoming, so I've not been racing to the theater this last month or two.
Well,
for anything exciting.
That, like we said, is how much is there left that's really exciting. I mean, there's a part of me where I'm like, I've hemmed and hawed about, do I want to see Lion King in the movie theater? And I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I mean, I feel like I should, but I'm like,
I think that's the next to the live action one, I think, is Mulan next year. Isn't there?
Thank God.
That's the next... Yeah.
Can I admit that? Am I allowed to say thank God?
Yeah, you're allowed to thank God.
Because
I think so.
Well, no, I mean in terms of these.
Oh, the live action remakes, yeah.
Yeah, the conversions. It's not that they're not good. They haven't been good. It's just I'm getting tired of them.
Well, Disney will keep making them if they're still making money.
True, and they are.
Vote with their wallets.
Right, and they are. And they are. I mean, they did what? How many did they do this year? 3?
It was
because Dumbo
Lion
was
King
early,
and Aladdin.
And Dumbo earlier in the year.
And Dumbo was March. Yeah, they did 3 of them.
I think that's where I'm like, okay, no mas, no more. Please stop.
If they do one more, which one would you want?
This year? Or
live action? No, if they do, okay.
This year, none.
Iger says, Iger calls you and says, Jeff, we're only going to do one more and that's it. Which one do you want?
Ooh, that's a good question. I guess, I'm thinking Hercules.
Yeah, that could be good.
I'm thinking Hercules.
Do you get Danny DeVito to reprise his role as that satyr?
That could be interesting.
The trainer guy?
Yeah, or Kevin Hart. I could do Kevin Hart there too.
Oh yeah, shout out to Kevin Hart. Yeah, man. Hope you're
you know
speedy
what?
recovery.
There we go. Oh yeah, shout out to. You know what? Oh, there we go. There we go. You know what? You put Kevin Hart as the satyr, and you bring in The Rock to be Hercules.
I think it might be a little too old. I'd like the younger, naive Hercules.
Okay.
But then, they have a good screen chemistry.
Right,
they could
they
work.
got good screen chemistry.
Maybe make him Zeus. I'd
Who,
like
The
The
Rock?
Rock as Zeus, like wearing
that would be
totally fake beard.
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Especially if you let him be like The Rock, and Zeus says, "Do you smell? Do you smell
what the Zeus is cooking?"
Yeah, do you smell what the Zeus is cooking? Okay, there's our episode title.
Who would you get to be Hercules?
Oh, that's tough. See, now that starts to be tough because it's like, okay, who are the kid actors? Maybe the kid from Archie.
All right.
The kid from
Riverdale.
From Riverdale.
Okay.
He's got about the right look and the right build. Has he
got a bit of muscle on him?
Oh yeah, women are like, oh.
Okay.
He's constantly taking his shirt off in that show.
Because he doesn't have to be like the biggest, the most ripped, but someone.
Oh, he's pretty.
Well,
he's not that I'm looking, but you know,
I hear you.
He keeps taking the shirt off all the time. And it's like, damn. Okay, you win. I'm aware. I need to get to the gym and I need to cut back on sandwiches. Okay. Thanks for doing that. I'd be good with Hercules, because I'm never going to get a black hole musical.
No, we don't want any musical numbers in that. Yeah, see, we
do. That could be amusing. That could be amusing all by itself.
We're all the humanoids with the little glass faces. They're all doing a choreographed dance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about Star Wars musical? There we go.
Star Wars musical? It's been done.
Yeah, but not for
best
real.
way though in Bill Murray Lounge Act. That's that's the Star Wars musical we deserve. But if I wanted one more animated live action remake, yeah, I think you're right. I think Hercules would be the most interesting. But maybe Sword in the Stone if it was done right. I don't know if they did. Robin Hood's been done to death. I don't know.
Would it be like Robin Hood or would it be the Fox Robin Hood?
Right, exactly. No, I'd rather,
would they all look like the animals or would you get like a Robin Hood where it's just like, or would it be like a more Broadway version of Men in Tights?
Yeah. No, I think Sword in the Stone. I'd have to go with that one.
I think that's why they're avoiding that, is because of that.
Because he did redo Cinderella. I don't want to see Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. I wanted some little more. Oh.
Have they done a Snow White musical? No, they haven't done that, have they?
No, they did Wicked. Well, that's Wizard of Oz. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's Wizards of Oz. No, but I don't think they've done a Snow White one. God, that's probably coming, isn't it? At any point Frozen's happening too. They'll find a way to make Frozen into a live action thing.
I think they put Frozen on the Disney on Ice tours or whatever they do.
Yes, they did. They did that too. So I'm just I'm thinking basically on the usual. Well, how about see, but they've done. I feel like they've done Pinocchio, right? I know they're doing Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, that's going to be on Disney Plus.
Is that going to be on Disney Plus?
I think so. Yeah, well, that won't be in the theaters. That's going to be just on there.
Is it? Okay.
On the streaming.
That makes more sense. I think that's probably smart. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think Disney. I'm sure I wouldn't mind seeing. See, I'd love to do kind of like a Roger Rabbit thing and bring back Donald Duck and Goofy and all those characters and do something weird.
That'd just revisit that universe and how it's changed over the 30 years.
Yeah,
or I know Bob Zemeckis is probably up for it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, not even Roger Rabbit itself, but it's okay.
Just go back to Toontown and have that huge collaborative effort where we have the MGM cartoon characters interacting with Disney and Warner Brothers. There's something magical about that. We talked about it last week. Or was it 2 weeks ago when we had Scott on? We were talking about
something
when
like that.
The creator Roger Rabbit died.
Right. Well, and like I said, the only thing I was thinking is, honestly, it's been a while since you've done anything really interesting with Mickey and Donald and all those characters. I don't know. Unless I'm missing something on these Disney Kids channels. How do kids even know about Mickey Mouse these days?
I'm sure it's they still push the preschool era kids. I'm sure they still have Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Pluto and Minnie.
I guess.
I'm sure they still have toys and merchandise focused towards them.
Mm-hmm.
On Disney Disney FX or something. It was one of the Disney XR or something. One of the Disney
XD.
channels. Yeah, XD,
was it XD?
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know.
One of those 2 letters. I don't know. So, do you have any other news or what?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Topics of discussion?
Topics of discussion. The obvious one. That foul stench from the north is coming down.
Yeah, first weekend. It's usually always the first opening weekend of football season.
Well, no, that foul stench from the north is coming. You know what I'm talking about.
Well,
coming down they're coming over the state line.
From Green Bay.
Yeah, with their freaking heads of cheese and...
Yep.
Gigantic women that are bigger than their offensive line. And...
Well, I have a friend who lives in Lake Geneva, and he and his son saw the preseason game last week up at Lambeau, and I posted the General Zod heresy image in the comment section, so I did my part.
It's so funny because it's I've started to post the memes there have just been too many good ones to post lately. About with them and the Bears, where there's certain ones that's just been funny, and I'm getting you're posting a lot of these. Yeah, I am, and people are you're gonna have to, if they lose, you're gonna have to eat your shit. I'm not I wasn't around to eat it last year.
Right.
The first game of the year, I was there, and I still made the same jokes. I'm well, congratulations, You guys need something to do up there because I know you don't really have anything else to do other than shoot each other and eat cheese. I don't know.
Go to the supper club, eh?
Hey, yeah. Well, see how many beers you can drink before you pass out, or go to the polka.
That's coming.
Go to the polka joint. I was looking at the schedule. You realize, for the first month, the Bears aren't at noon ever.
12 noon Central Time?
Yeah, 12 noon Central Time.
Right. Because they're
10
on
o'clock Eastern and 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Time. But yeah, everything's
I don't feel like watching a game and having a beer at 10 a.m. on a Sunday.
Well, yeah, that's out west, though.
Yeah.
That's out west. And that assumes that you're watching your East Coast teams. I will say, it would be interesting, because it's okay, you start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and really, in reality, you're kind of done by what? The 1 o'clock, the 3 o'clock games for them are 1 o'clock games. Those games are done by 5 their time. Truth is, you have your whole evening if you really wanted to, if you're on the West Coast. Versus, by the time you're done watching football here, you're okay, I think I've gone into a football coma, and I have to work tomorrow, and like the sun is down, and you get the idea.
Yeah, and can we just stop with the games at Wembley Stadium? We know the British aren't going to give a crap about.
The Bears are going there, right?
I don't care.
Why
are the Bears playing? Nothing against the British, but I don't think they're going to catch on to our American football.
They do get people.
I'm sure they get people. They do it for a reason. They must be buying enough tickets to fill the seats.
Yeah.
It's not just American tourists who go to
there's that too.
The British football game. It just seems like a waste of time.
Well,
to send all
they want that money,
the teams and the crews, and of course, it's obviously about the bottom line.
Well, right. They're a $9 billion industry, and it's all basically, for the most part, in North America. And when I say North America, they don't have a team in Canada, and they don't have a team in Mexico. So, they'd like to get outside of the country. That'd be great. And they like to make some money outside of the country, too. I don't know. Like I said, it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see.
How were those ratings numbers for the preseason games?
It's preseason.
Yeah, it's preseason, I know. But just
who
seems
was
like...
The guy who was the play-by-play for the Bears game, the last Bears game, he just, oh my God, that guy was not good. That guy was not good. And it was almost to the level of not good comical, but he was, and I can't remember who was on him with him.
Was he just making mistakes?
No, I don't know.
Well, to be honest, though, it's a difficult profession. Sports commentary is like one of the most difficult forms of broadcasting.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He just sounded dweeby. I think that's the best way I can put it. And he was trying to make it sound all serious and stuff. Oh, those have it. And I'm like, okay, it's the 4th preseason game. It's late in the game. I don't even know that half these people are going to make the NFL.
Some of these people, you only see them the one time they're wearing the uniforms.
Yep.
You never hear from them again.
Yeah. And
regular season starts this week.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then I forgot, I was slightly in mourning for a period of time this past week. Because as a Colts fan, all of a sudden I get all these texts from people going,
Andrew Luck,
Dude, your guy retired. I'm like, what are you talking about? No. I'm like, shut up, that's got to be a lie. And I'm like, oh.
And you go to your website and you go to the internet and it's
God.
Yeah, and it kind of crappy how it all happened. How he was on the sidelines when the news broke, and
that was bad timing.
That was bad.
And the worst part is that I, as a Colts fan, I have real issues with the people who booed him. Yeah. I really do. You know what? If we could all walk away at 29 with millions upon millions of dollars, if you're feeling that much pain and it's that painful, then you know what?
You got to walk away, man.
Yeah, walk away. Why do we want these people to get like CTE and be damaged like that and all that stuff? This is crazy. You know, if anything, I don't know. That's the other interesting part. I am fascinated about, in some ways, where the NFL is going to go in the future, because really, it's a game that man was not really built to play, and yet we created it.
And despite all the advancements, we're not wearing leather helmets anymore, but we're still getting people getting seriously hurt after getting hit multiple times.
Well, and that's the question. And see, this is an example of the questions that I keep having. And these are the questions that I keep wondering why nobody's doing the investigative reporting on. And the only thing I can come up with is the NFL is just too freaking powerful. And they are. They'll, God forbid you don't want to screw around with them and your sports brand, because they will come after you if you're not careful. But, why has there been no real effort to helmets and padding and better body armor. It's funny. Somebody said to me, "What do you want more body armor?" Yeah, why not? Why not? You're taking the equivalent of a car crash every time you get hit.
It's serious.
Yeah. Why can't we build something that's, we think about what we do for cars where we have all those in-point crumple points and all that stuff like that. Why aren't we building things very similar to that for players?
Well, you want to have to replace the shoulder pads after every play.
Well, but there's ways to do that without having to do that. At least in theory, I would think. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm mumbling and stumbling on this because I do enjoy football, and I do think at times the game's been watered down. At the same time,
you don't want to see people getting hurt.
No, I don't want to see people. I don't want to see.
Some people are like, yeah, oh man, you see that fight that broke out, or you see that one guy where they play it back and his leg goes the other way. Ooh man, that was awful.
Well,
man.
I mean, like for example,
I can't watch
Jim
that
McMahon,
shit.
Jim McMahon, says that he has enough problems with everything what happened with him, where I believe he's still suing the NFL. I could be wrong. Where he was talking about all this, where he still has problems today.
He doesn't have problems wearing that number 9 jersey to get money, though.
Yeah, that's true. But in fairness, keep in mind that, and this is where I kind of laugh. Is people talk about that? Well, they got money. Well, yeah, not if you can't get health insurance that you can afford, because of all the things that have happened to your body because you were a professional football player. That can be difficult.
Yep.
I
hear a lot of these sad stories about all these players who retire from the game and they wind up broke.
Right, and some of it is just, and sometimes it could just be on the medical, and we're not even talking about the ones where it's.
Yeah, and if they're not, if they weren't part of a championship team, then they're not going to get as much money from like public appearances in the future.
Well, and we're not even talking about the stars. We're talking. And the scary part is we're talking about Jim McMahon. He was kind of a star.
Yeah,
there are guys where it's like the average player length of time in the league. I want to say the last I heard was 4 years. So, for the most part, some of these guys, they're in and out in 4 years. Like there was a guy from Jacksonville who was a great offensive lineman, and he was out real fast. Good kid. But they were talking about how this guy literally has a condition where he's in his 20. He was either in his 20s or his 30s, early 30s, and it's like, okay, where literally he can't work, and he didn't make enough. If you know what I mean. And it's like, okay, you got one of these guys on disability. The guy's in great shape, but literally, based on what happened to him, can't work.
Right. Look at the story of Refrigerator Perry.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like I look at like Dan Hampton, and I look at the fact that the guy's in his what is he in his 50s? Or like when Peyton died or something like that, or when some of these things have happened, and he's walking with a cane. I mean, looks like he's in great shape, but he's walking with a cane. Well, you know what? That's what happens when you have 10 scopes on each knee. I mean, I remember back in the day where Chet Kopic used to sit there and talk about Dan Hampton, tough guy. He's had his knees scoped 10 times, and you're like, oh, that's a badass. And now you're sitting in the back going,
yeah, the poor guys.
Maybe he's not going to be able to walk much longer.
Mm-hmm. This season of the NFL is coming, so go Bears.
Go Bears. Well,
Bears.
Go Bears. No, we don't really talk sports that much on this show.
We might get our news of the sports.
Yeah, I don't
later
know
in the week.
We don't. I don't think we have any of that, but
this week.
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody asked me, it's like, why do you make so many Packer jokes? It's like, it's all just for fun. As I told them, I'm like, there's a lot of
because I'm a Bear fan, I can't support the Packers.
Right. Well, and see, people don't get this. This is what people don't get. Is it's like, it's not that we really hate Green Bay. It's just, there's so many differences in this whole thing where it's, we're a big city. They're a small city. Wisconsin and Illinois are very, very different places, at least in the northern part, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I mean, different ways of life in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the community-owned town that owns the Packers versus the old family in the big city and all that kind of stuff. And there's been always those jokes where it's like, and you've got enough people who are, because it's close by, that are intermingled in families.
Yeah,
where
I have
it's like,
people who live by the border, and I have coworkers who are Packer fans. You live close enough to the northern end of the state, so you see it.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget. I went to one of my cousin's weddings, and it was in Milwaukee, and I wasn't thinking anything about it. It was in the fall, and I was wearing a Bears sweatshirt. And I wasn't really thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, Bears sweatshirt. What was the big deal? I got razzed about 10 times in the hotel, and I'm like, okay. I didn't even do anything. It wasn't bothering me. All they saw was, Bears fan. Yeah,
We had gone up to the summer place in 2004, and my friend came with, and he was going to do some fishing at our, on the lake, and we had to go to the general store to get a fishing license for him. But he's wearing a Bears shirt. I'm like, you might want to change that shirt if you want to go into town and get a Wisconsin fishing license today.
Yeah, really.
But now they took his money, so.
Yeah, well, if there's money involved, they'll be happy to take it. But yeah, it's. I mean, I remember stories about back in the day when we knew that. I mean, I heard stories about kids that I knew from Highland Park Highland Park High School, where there's the one overpass that they got to drive through to get downtown. Out that way, and anything that looked like it had Packers stuff on it, they had eggs, and they'd fire them down. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny. I mean, that in this woke world, you gotta be careful with that. But back in the day, this was stuff that happened where it's like,
right, and you see Packer fans coming down to Soldier Field.
Well, that's the other thing too. Some of it, it's always funny too, because it's like, if you're a Bears fan and you say certain things, people are like, "Oh, you're taking it too far." But when the Packer fans do stuff, it's always like, "Oh, it's just so cute." Like when they did, when what's his name? When that whole thing happened that one time with the instant replay, and it didn't. It should have been a. It screwed us over.
When they reversed it.
They made a whole polka song about the Bears still suck. Okay. And where it was after further review, the Bears still suck, and you see that stuff all the time, and they still do all that garbage too. And it's like, for them, it's always, it's so cute, and then they'll sit there and they'll make fun of Jay Cutler all the time. It's like, that's
our job.
Yeah, that's our. Yeah, first of all, that's our job. That's the first part. That's our job. The second part is it's like, it must be nice to have quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Fine. Let me know when you get a running back up there, because you haven't had one in a long time. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yep, them Packers. They're coming this week down to Soldier Field.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes.
Did you see the one ad where they baptized Peyton Manning with?
Yeah, they put up some Facebook videos with George Wendt doing the Superfans thing from SNL.
There's a part of me where I'm like, I'm so tired of that, and yet they do them well enough where it's like, okay, that was really funny. All right, I'll go along with that. But I'm like, there we go again with the New York people thinking, still bringing up the goddamn Superfans after all this time. That's why sometimes I really want us to beat New York all the time, because it's like redhead stepchild thing.
And that's not the only time. That's not the last time we've been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
But,
really.
Oh, well.
Well.
But it is the last time we won one, so.
Yeah. Well, but they pulled all that stuff out during the Bulls dynasty, too.
Yeah.
Where they would be like, Bulls, and they'd do the same thing. And then they make jokes about Bulls versus Ditka's hair and shit like that. And
then when the Blackhawks did well 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, it's like George White will never not have money to bring in because it's like, I'm running low on money. Hey, the Bears are what Chicago team's playing well right now that I can whip out the superfan.
Doc, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh look, the Cubs.
Something.
Cubs. Yeah.
Well, they did win today, so good on them.
Did they? Well, by the time this airs, it won't matter. God, they have fallen.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they can get a wild card in.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how we're like, they should be playing better, and like, no more than 7 years, like 6 years ago, we'd have killed to be in this position.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, it's like, truth be told, the last 4 or 5 years have been like the best run of Cubs baseball in my entire life. Probably yours too.
Well, it was just 3 short years ago when they did it. Right.
Well, I mean, even think about this. It's like, okay, so they went to the National League Championship in 2015. So they went there in 2015.
Yep.
They won it in 2016. 2017 they went back to the NLCS. Last year they got to the wild card, but they got bumped out. And it looks like they're going to make the wild card again. That's 5 years of winning baseball.
Yeah.
In a row. We're not talking about like, okay, I saw 5 years of winning Cubs baseball. We're talking about 5 years of winning Cubs baseball in a row. I remember back in 2008, because they had won 2008, and I think they won in 2009. And I was like, oh my God, 2 seasons in a row with winning, and we're both going to go to the playoffs. Now we're talking. That's been the only time I've seen it.
And the other one was maybe like, was it 2003 or 2004 was the whole thing with Steve Bartman?
Yeah, but again, and then they fell off but again, perfect example. Okay, 85. I'm sorry, the 1984 team. Oh, this team's going to be around forever. Okay, they fell apart. They never really. They kind of fell apart, and they came back in 89. 4 years later, they came back in 89. 5 years later, and then they didn't really ever make it again in the early 90s. And then, then fast forward to like 98. Okay, the 98 team made it like by the skin of their teeth. And then 2003, 2003 was that year, and then you've got 2008 and 2000. Is it 2000? Was it 2007? Maybe it was 2007, 2008. I can't remember. There's 2 back-to-back years where they make it. But other than that, that's it.
Well,
not a lot of winning.
With Bears and Cubs right now, we'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely.
We're not hearing anything about any of the other teams.
No, freaking Bulls. Stupid freaking Bulls. Oh, God.
So, yeah, sports, yay.
Sports, yay. That could be the name of this episode, too.
Sports yay.
Oh, God.
So, what else we got over here? Think we can wrap it up, or?
I think we can wrap it up. Yeah, the only other thing I keep thinking is, I feel like we used to do more stuff on Labor Day than we do now. Like, we had more things going on that we would do. You know?
No, I took a nap in the morning after breakfast.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
Exactly.
I woke up and hang outside for a little bit, enjoying the nice sunny weather, and then I turned the grill on and made some burgers. So
yeah,
that was my
I feel
day.
like it's like, all right, I got the day off. What am I gonna do? You know what?
Nothing.
A nap sounds wonderful.
Yes.
You're like, what? Really?
I'm looking forward to naps. I'm that old.
It's like, oh look, a Law and Order SVU marathon.
I don't know why that still works. Where I'm like, ooh, Law and Order SCU. Oh, look, a whole block of them. Okay, good, let's go. I can't be the only one either.
I could do 2 in a row, maybe not 3 or more. I could do 2 episodes because I fall into the hype, and you see it all the way to the end,
Mm-hmm.
So I think about it. The great TV formula of Law and Order. Such a great formula for television, actually. So anyway, I guess that'll do it. I had a couple of family members over as we are grilling, and one of my Facebook friends is an elderly relative of mine, and she's like, I follow your Facebook, and what is with you and tables? Like, what do you mean, tables? I was like, oh, our podcast. Yes, what is that? It's a podcast. It's like an internet radio show, and I explained to my family members what I'm doing here once a week.
Yeah.
So at least the word's getting out. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on Podbean and Anchor. Download the free apps. You'll know when episodes arrived. And also on your YouTube, subscribe, click the bell. You'll know when new episodes arrive. In that regard as well, the email at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. That's where you get our crazy news from our sister show, News of the Squared. Shout out to Scott.
Scott! I don't know why. I felt like doing it weird this time. I'm not sure.
And shout out to Ivan. Hopefully you're feeling better. We'll get you back here next week, bud. Shout out. Yeah, man. It's all good.
Yeah, man. Okay.
Yeah. And that'll do for 66 number episode of the show.
Execute number 66.
That's right. So may the force be with you, and we'll see you next week, and go Bears.
Bears.